Namaste, Namaskaram, everybody, and welcome once again to my channel. And today, our discussion would be on understanding what Japmala or rosaries that we can use based on astrology. Now, the science of using different Japmala has also been written in some of the scriptures. Like, for example, there is a scripture called Sharada Tilaka, and Sharada Tilaka talks about what are the benefits that are attained by using specific types of rosary beads in your sadhana or in your spiritual practices. So, Sharada Tilaka talks about using a Rudraksha Japmala, one can fulfill all their wishes. Sharada Tilaka also says about Japmala, which is made from the beads of lotus. Then the enemies for you in your path of success will be eliminated. It also says that using a rosary, which is made from darba grass, which is also called as kusha, will destroy all your sins. And by using a rosary which is made of putra jiva beads helps you to grant a son. It also continues to say that if you're using a rosary which is made from silver beads, then it will help you to accomplish all your internal desires. Also, it says if you're using a japmala, which is akshamala, which is used from golden beads, then it will fulfill all your desires. And having a rosary which is made from corals will benefit you from immense wealth. At the same time, it says use of any spatikamala, which means it's a white quartz crystal from the Himalayas, that will improve prosperity and luck. And also, if you are using a bead which is made from pearls, will give you protection and fame. So these use of rosaries have been mentioned in this classic that I said is Sharada Tilaka. Now, when it comes to astrology and based on astrology, how can we select the right bead? So this is the discussion for today. Now, before we go there, we have to understand that there are two gurus in Jyotish Shastra, which is Brahaspati and Sukracharya. So let us first look why use of beads and what is the association with Guru Brahaspati and Guru Shukracharya. So let's go to the tradition of the Siddhas or spiritual masters, which is Siddha Dharma, and let us see what they have to say about the association with this. Okay, let me share my screen. So we, in the Siddha tradition, they talk about the Dharma tradition has two Mahasiddhas, which is said Mahasiddha Brahaspatinath. And here we can see it is the Sattvic Rupa, is most sanctified form, where he is holding a rosary bead in his hand. He's holding a water pot, which is called as Kamandalu, and his Yoga Danda as well in his hand. So usually whenever we start a prayer, we should always pray to Guru or Brahaspati, and the Gayatri mantra is Om Suracharaya Vidmahe Vachaspathyaya Dhimahi Tanno Guru Prachodayat. And the other Mahasiddha is Shukranath, who is in his Dhyana Rupa. And there is also a mantra, which is the Gayatri, 24 syllable meter. For him is Om Bhriguvamsha Jataya Vidmahe Shweta Vahanaya Dhimahi Tanno Shukra Prachodayat. Now, in the yogic tradition, to be able to get the right sadhana, then you have to see which nakshatra that your Jupiter and Shukra would be placed, and based on this, we would probably be able to select the right rosary beads that would be more suitable for you. Now, the rosary beads have to be made out of 108 plus one extra bead The extra bead which is there, which separates all the 108 beads, is called as the Sumeru. Now, whenever we start with a practice, we have to start with a practice of a sadhana, always sitting in the similar position, okay, facing the east or the northeast or north direction. When we start with the sadhana in our puja room, we should always be clean before we start our sadhana. And the do's are always wear a tilak or a bhasma on your forehead between your eyebrows, which is the Ajna Chakra, which is the third eye, and you start with your sadhana. The instruction which has been given in Yoga Sadhana is we should never cross the Sumeru, and you should always use your middle finger to rotate the beads. And as soon as you reach the Sumeru bead, which is the extra bead, we should always reverse, and we should never cross the Sumeru. Sumeru is the mountain. So nobody crosses the Sumeru, which is the bead which is there, and you always reverse your bead and your practice. So this is how you would do your mantra sadhana. The other thing is, whenever you do use these beads, you should always note that the beads should never be touching your feet or the ground. So you can use a small bag in your hand also, which is tied to your hand, and you can use that bag to have the beads when you are doing your sadhana. So this is the practice that you would always follow. Now let's go and see how do you categorize nakshatras, and the basis of that, how can you select your nakshatra based rosary beads. Now, first we have to understand what is the nature of the nakshatras. So there is a categorization of nakshatras, and they are categorized in 7 different categories. And this I will be teaching as part of a course, and more such topics I'll be discussing on the 11th and 12th of March. I will be running a crash course on nakshatras. So those people who are interested can write to me. I'll be leaving the links to contact me or message me with your name, your city that you are currently based out of, and your email address. You can send it to me, and I will add you in the list or the course material that will be covered as part of the crash course on nakshatras. Now, the 7 categories of nakshatras are, the first category is called as Dhruva or Sthira nakshatras. What does it mean? Dhruv means it is fixed, the permanent, stable, and enduring nakshatras. So there are 4 nakshatras which are categorized under this. The first is Rohini, and all the Uttara nakshatras are said to be Dhruva or Sthira nakshatras. Uttara Falguni, Uttara Ashada, and Uttara Bhadrapada. The next is called as Chara or Chala nakshatras. These are called as, they are movable, they are agile, they are mobile, and Chala also means they are unsteady and they are ephemeral. So you would be having 5 nakshatras which are called as Chara or Chala nakshatras, which is Punarvasu, Swathi, Shravana, Dhanishta, and Shatabhishak. The third category is called as Ugra or Krura nakshatras. So what is Ugra or Krura? The description is they are fierce, they are severe, they are cruel, they are strong, they are bold, they are violent, and they are harsh. So we have a set of 5 nakshatras which fall under this category of Ugra or Krura, which is Bharani nakshatra, Magha nakshatra, and all the Purva nakshatras, which is Purva Falguni, Purva Ashada, and Purva Bhadrapada. The fourth category of nakshatras is called Mishra or Sadharana nakshatras. They are said, Sadharana means they are ordinary, Mishra means they are sharp and soft, so they have a mixed quality. So only 2 nakshatras fall under this category, which is Kritika nakshatra and Vishaka nakshatra. Both of these nakshatras have Agni as their lords. Vishaka has even Indra Agni, the dimorphic pair, or Devata Dvandva, as their nakshatra lord. Okay, then we have the 5th category is called as Laghu and Shipra nakshatras. What is Laghu? Laghu means light, quick, and dynamic, and Laghu means they are light and swift. Okay, so they're very effective nakshatras. So there are 4 nakshatras which fall under this category, and they are Ashwini, Pushya, Hasta, and Abhijit Nakshatra, which is an intercalary nakshatra. So whenever we are doing Jataka based astrology, we only take 27 nakshatra schemes. And whenever we're doing horary election astrology, we would take Abhijit. Now, the sixth category of nakshatra is called as Mridhu, Maitra, or Komal nakshatras. What are they? They are soft, they are gentle, they are mild, they are tender, they are friendly, and they are very affectionate. So, what are the nakshatras which fall under this category? So, you have Mragashirsha, Chitra, Anuradha, and Revati. So, these are four nakshatras which fall under this. And finally, we have what we call as Tikshna and Dharuna. Dharuna means hard, harsh, creating fear. And Tikshna means which is tragic, sharp, cruel, dreadful, bitter, violent, piercing, and intense and painful. Sometimes it's also called as acidic. Okay, so there are four nakshatras which fall under this category, which is Ardhra, Ashlesha, Jeshta, and Mula. Okay, now based on once you have identified, you can use various methods of using and selection of your japmalas. I will talk about some of them. Obviously, if you are looking for any growth or expansion of areas of your life which is already going well, then using Jupiter and Jupiter's nakshatra, whichever nakshatra Jupiter in your chart is placed, you can select that. Any areas of your life that you would like to revive, because Shukra and Shukracharya is said to have Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya, which means the ability to revive the dead. But here you can also say Shukra also has the ability to revive things in your life. So wherever and whichever nakshatra your Shukra would be placed, you can select your Japmala basis of that. There is also other categories that you can select based on your first lord. If you want to see wherever your first lord and whichever nakshatra your first lord is in place, it is for improvement of your buddhi shakti and all-round vitality. You can use that. Also, alternatively, you can use your Atmakaraka nakshatra. Okay, whichever planet is your planet with the highest degree and which becomes your Atmakaraka, also your soul's purpose, you can select that. The other is Vradhi, which means you're looking for improvement and prosperity. Then you can use your seventh Lord's nakshatra for and the beads or the seeds related to that. Okay. Then there is called as Shuddhi, which means purification and cleansing. So fourth Lord's nakshatra, whichever nakshatra the fourth Lord of your Rashi chart is sitting from your Lagna, you can select that. The other theme is whenever you can use your 10th Lord's nakshatra, wherever it is placed, you can also use for your progress and your prosperity. Okay, so these are some of the categories. So now let's look at what nakshatras and what is the japmalas that we can use. So if you have planets which are sitting, or grahas which are sitting in Dhruva Tara, or your Sthira nakshatras, I've given you what are the Sthira nakshatras, you can use a japmala which is made from the Nava Uparatnas, which means semi-precious stones aligned with the nine, the 9 Navagrahas. You can use that, or simply you can use a red sandalwood mala. If you have planets which are prominent in your chart, then you are looking at, if they are placed in Chara nakshatras, then you can use moonstone, which is Chandra, or Muktamani, or pearl, which is Moti. If they are sitting in Ugra or Krura nakshatras, then it is advisable to use white quartz crystal beads, which is called as Patika. If you have planets sitting in Mishra or Sadharana nakshatras, which is Kritika and Vishaka, you can use either a cat's eye, a tiger's eye, or alternatively, if you want to use a green jade, which is called as Margaj Mala, that also is been recommended. You can use that. If you have planets which are sitting in Laghu and Shikla nakshatras, then you can use your Tulsi Mala, which is your sacred basil or your holy basil, and also using turmeric beads, which is called as Haldi Mala. Then if you have planets which are sitting in Mrighu nakshatras, then you can use what is called as lotus seeds. It's also called as Kamal Gatta Mala. And generally, this mala is also recommended for when you have to do, Lakshmi sadhana. You can use, lotus seeds mala. And finally, when you have planets which are sitting in Tikshna or Dharana nakshatras, which is Ardra, Pashalesha, Jyeshta, and Mula, so you can use Rudraksh mala. So these are certain recommendations which I would say would be very effective for your sadhana and also to achieve the success in your life. So if you like this video and you would like to enroll for the crash course on basics of nakshatras, which is on 11th and 12th of March 2023, then please drop me email and I would send you details of the series that I want to do on the foundations of astrology. So thank you very much, everybody. Namaskar.